Hello and welcome. For those who haven't seen our previous videos, my name is Rishi and I am a tutor of just under 10 years. Welcome to our video on multi-step algebra problems. Now in this video, our goal is to help you develop the skills needed to solve complex problems that require multiple algebraic steps. We'll walk through each step of the problem solving process, providing helpful reminders and tips along the way. By the end of this video, you'll have the tools you need to confidently tackle even the most challenging algebraic problems. Please note, we have 3 different levels. We start off with our blue level, then move on to our green level, and then we have our yellow level. I'm honored for you to be part of our journey. So let's dive in and get started. A number is 4 times another number, and by subtracting 3 from each number, the first number becomes 5 times greater than the second. What are the 2 numbers? So let's use algebra to solve the problem. We now have a number here and we have another number. That's 2 numbers. So we're going to let our first number be x and the second number be y. And then we have 2 equations based on the information given. So now, since a number is 4 times another number, we'll have x equals 4y. So that's our first sentence put into play here. And now we also are told that by subtracting 3 from each number, which then means x minus 3 and y minus 3, the first number becomes 5 times greater than the second. So again, we can simply put an equal sign, put a 5, and enclose these in brackets. So we now know one number is 5 times larger than the other. So again, as you can see, we've subtracted 3 from each number, and the first number is 5 times greater. So again, we can link these two, and there we are. So now what we're going to do here is simply use the first equation to substitute x into the second equation with 4y, and then simplify. So we know the value of x is 4y, so I'm going to simply replace that with the x in the second equation. So what are we left with? 4y minus 3 equals 5y minus 15. And again, I've got 5y minus 15 from expanding the brackets, where you have 5 multiplied by y and 5 multiplied by minus 3. And now we can solve it for y. So again, we can take the 4y over to the other side. So we minus 4y on both sides. So now we are left with y. And then I take the minus 15 over to make it a positive 15. So I add 15 on both sides. So then we are left with 15 minus 3, which gives us 12. So now we know that our answer for y is 12. And simply, we can now use the first equation to find x. So how are we going to do that? Well, we know that x equals 4y, as we had stated. And if we know that 12 equals y, we can have x equals 4 multiplied by 12, and that gives us 48. And there we are. And that now should make sense, where a number is 4 times another number. So 4 times 12 is 48. That satisfies our argument, and we are good to go. And that there was your first question. I hope that was clear. Over to the second question. The perimeter of a rectangular garden is 40 meters. The width is 2 meters more than 1/2 of the length. So find the length and the width. So let's represent the length of the rectangular garden as L and the width as W. Now from the problem, we know that the perimeter of the garden is 40 meters. So the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle is P equals 2L plus 2W. And that's 2 times your length plus 2 times your width. So we can simply write down 2L plus 2W equals 40. And now if we simplify this equation by dividing both sides by 2, we can get L plus W equals 20. And we also know that the width is 2 meters more than 1/2 of the length. So again, we can write out the width will equals 1/2 of our length plus 2. So once again, it's 2 meters more, hence we have the plus 2, more than 1/2 of the length, which is 1/2 times by the length. And now we can substitute this expression for W into the first equation. So again, we can have our length plus 1/2 of the length plus 2, which equals 20. And if we now combine this, we know 1/2 times, in this case, 2/2, which is 1/2, will give us 3/2L, plus the 2, which equals 20. So once again, 1/2 plus 2/2 gives you 3/2L, plus the 2, which equals 20. And then we can go ahead and subtract 2 from both sides. So then we'll get 3/2L equals 18. And then if we divide both sides by 3/2, we should then be left with L being 12. So the length of the garden is now 12 meters. And now to find the width, we can use the equation that we derived earlier, which was W equals 1/2 L plus 2. So if we substitute 12 as L, we would simply get 1/2 of 12 plus 2, which then would be 6 plus 2, which gives us 8. So the width of the garden is now 8. Therefore, the length and the width of the garden are 12 meters and 8 meters respectively. And again, if you want to prove this, you can simply multiply the length and the width by 2, which would then give us 24 plus 16, which does in fact give us 40. And that there is our question answered. So again, I hope you're finding these questions easier to now manage. As you can see, I'm breaking down each sentence into smaller, more manageable chunks and then putting them back together. Well, with that in mind, let's go ahead and dive into the third question. So in the parking lot at a truck stop, there were 6 more cars than 18-wheel trucks. So again, 6 more cars than 18-wheel trucks. Now we don't know how many 18-wheel trucks there are, but we know there are 6 more. So instantly, we can have a variable, which is C equals T plus 6, where we know that there are 6 more cars than 18-wheel trucks. So T can be the trucks and C can be the number of cars. So I'll just write that down as cars and trucks. And we also know now that there were 134 wheels in the parking lot. And each car has 4 wheels. And each 18-wheel truck has 18 wheels. So let's now write this out as 4C for 4 wheels on one car and 18 wheels on one truck, which then equals 134. So now we've collected this information from the text. Let's now substitute the first equation into the second. So what are we going to simply have? We're going to have 4 multiplied by T plus 6, because that is what C equals, plus 18T, and that gives us 134. And if we expand this out, we have 4T plus 24 plus 18T, which is 134. And then putting your T's together, we have 22T plus 24, which is 134. And if we minus 24 from each side, what are we left with? That's 22T, which equals 110. So now we know that T will equal 5. So there were 5 18-wheel trucks in the parking lot. And now to find the number of cars, we can then simply use the first expression. We know cars equals trucks, which is 5 plus 6. So cars has to equal 11. So there were 11 cars in the parking lot. So again, I hope that question was clear. We've now worked out the number of 18-wheeled trucks, which was 5, and then 6 more were cars, which is then 11. Don't forget to read the question and highlight, just the way I did in this particular question. Okay, let's move over to the next question here. So Leo bought 5 cartons of milk and received 14.25 Rand in change. If he gave 50 Rand to this shopkeeper, work out the cost of each carton of milk. So let's represent the cost of each carton of milk as X. So carton will be seen as X. Now, if Leo gave 50 Rand to the shopkeeper and received 14.25 in change, then how much must he have spent? Well, let's simply calculate this for you. And that gives us 35.75 Rand that he spent. And we know that Leo bought 5 cartons of milk. So the total cost of the milk has to be 5x. And we can set up an equation now. So we know 5x equals 35.75. And if we divide everything by 5, we get x, which equals to 7.15. Therefore, each carton of milk costs 7.15 Rand. And there we are. So again, I hope this question was a slightly easier question for you to tackle. Let's keep up the great work and let's go to our final question. So Jolene has taken 2 tests so far this semester, and she needs to average 88% to earn an A. She has earned the following percents, which is 74 and 96. So what must Jolene earn on her 3rd test so that her average is an A? So again, we're going to take the algebraic approach where we're going to let X be the score that Jolene needs. And now to find the score that she needs to earn on her 3rd test, we can use a following equation where we're going to take 74 as a percentage plus 96 and plus X, and we're going to get the mean of this, which is the average. And we know it equals 88%. So what are we going to do? We're going to multiply both sides by 3 and then add the remaining values, which means we're left with 170 plus X equals 264. And then if we subtract 170 from each side, we'll then get the value of X, which is 94. Therefore, Jolene needs to earn a score of 94% on her 3rd test to achieve an average of 88%. And there we are. That there brings us to the end of our first part of Blue Level Maths. I hope this paper was useful, where we went through a range of different algebraic questions. So if there's one thing that you can take away from this video, that should be to use algebra to break up your questions, where you can then find the value for a variable that makes the equation make sense. Remember to distribute and combine your terms, and then isolate the variable using the operations you've been given, before finally checking your answer. And what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So with that in mind, keep up the great work, and I'll see you in the next video.